Hey guys, it's Izzy and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I wanted to talk to you all about my process of applying to university. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I actually completed my uni application the other day and selected all 5 of my options. So after my A-levels I am going to be going to university, so I thought I'd document it all on my YouTube channel so you guys can see the entire process. So this is going to be the first video of hopefully many, and this one's going to be all about selecting which universities I wanted to apply to. So yes, I have now finished my uni application. I was so late in comparison to loads of my friends with completing this due to many reasons, which I'm going to go into in this video. I thought I'd first just start by addressing what I'm going to be doing. So at the moment I study business, maths and psychology for my A-levels, and once I finish them in September of 2021 I should be going to university. Now I'm pretty much certain that I'm not going to go this year, even though I have applied for this year, mainly with COVID and having not had a chance to visit any of the universities. I feel like I'm so unprepared with knowing what's available or anything like that, so I most likely won't go this September. However, I've still done my application just so that I can go if I really want to by September, and the options open really. Most likely I will have a gap year over 2021/2022, and then 2022 in September I shall start university. So I'm going to show you how I got to this decision and the options I picked and kind of what went through my brain a lot when it came to picking these. So I started the main decision making literally over a year ago in year 12. I noticed that all the year 13s were applying for university and starting the whole process, so it kind of made me realise that I wanted to go to university. I wanted to get the process started because I didn't really know how it worked with a disability. Applying for school and stuff when you have a disability, quite often you have to apply earlier than most other people, so I didn't know if that was a thing or anything, so I did start looking really early. However, that obviously didn't help me whatsoever. So originally I started looking and I kind of came up with a list of the things I wanted in a university. So I originally wanted to stay quite local, so an hour maximum drive to the uni. So originally looking at doing all sorts. I wanted to do law at one point. I was considering doing psychology at one point, or business psychology or business law. But then finally I kind of made the decision that I wanted to do marketing, and that was something that I enjoyed the most. So we contacted loads of the universities at the time, just kind of reached out to see what was available, and I got loads of visits and stuff planned, ready to go ahead for March of 2020. I already know what's going on. So now obviously with COVID I wasn't allowed to go on any of the visits, so sitting here saying I've applied for university, I have not visited a single one of them, which is not scary at all. So yeah, I haven't visited any of the unis that I am planning to go to. I just kind of had to hope for the best, which was quite stressful given the situation, but yeah, that's sort of how I had to apply in the end. All over the lockdown I was still looking into the courses I wanted to do, but still wasn't too sure. And then when we went back to school in September, I sort of got my application all together, and I'd had it done since probably mid-December. I just hadn't put any of my options in it, purely because I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to do something along the lines of business and marketing, like I've said, but I just didn't know where I wanted to go because I didn't want to put options down that weren't suitable or were going to be completely ruled out at a later date, because then I was kind of I'm wasting my options. And at this point I'd already paid my £20 something, I think it's £26 it costs you to apply through UCAS. So I'd kind of applied but not fully completed it yet, so I hadn't actually applied to anywhere. So at this point I was really considering the fact that I didn't feel comfortable going to university in September because I just didn't know anything about any of them. So I really started to toy with the idea of having a gap year and sort of considering the different things I could do in a gap year, because as much as I'd love to sit and have a completely relaxed year or go travelling, I don't think that's going to work. Obviously it kind of, with COVID, rules out having a year of travelling or anything like that because it's just so unpredictable. It's kind of like, well, let's say I can't go travelling or anything, and I wouldn't want to sit around and do nothing. So I was kind of toying with different things I could do in a gap year. Obviously YouTube's a massive one of them, so I definitely in the year out I'm going to be able to focus on my social medias a lot more and hopefully growing my platforms. So if I'm on my gap year, please support me. So then I started contacting a few more universities again, and I actually started broadening my search. Some of my more local universities just didn't seem to cut it. Some of the universities I contacted didn't really give off very good vibes, and they didn't really seem too accommodating or helpful, so I kind of just ruled them out straight away. I was literally going off emails and their websites. That's kind of how I've made my university decision. Even an email, they kind of came back to me and I was like, I was just having to discount, and that's sort of how I managed to work things out. And I realised that if I went further away, I would have more selection, more choice, obviously, and also some of the ones closer to me that I was considering had such high grade boundaries. Now, obviously, another big factor in the whole university palaver that I've experienced is that I don't really know what grade I'm working at the moment, because we've not had a formal assessment for ages. My last formal assessment was in September, and that was after having months and months off school. So I don't really know what grade I'm working at, and I don't really know what grade I'm going to get. I was trying to pick courses that meant that I wouldn't have any stress on myself, because I've started to find sixth form really stressful. So I was trying to pick low courses that should theoretically be quite easy for me to get into, just to kind of put off the pressure on myself of thinking that I have to get really high grades. And that is where I kind of came to my final conclusion of the 5 universities that I've picked. I'm going to tell you the ones I've picked, because I'm just going to be totally open and honest with you on this whole journey. I haven't heard anything back from them as of yet, because I did it 2 days ago. So I actually picked 4 universities and 5 courses. So I picked 2 courses at one of my universities just because it seemed the best. I'm not going to tell you the specific courses because that's something I'll go into at a later date, but they're all like marketing based, just a bit different. So the main universities I picked was Nottingham Trent, which is where my 2 courses are. I also picked, I'm trying to remember, Aston, which is in Birmingham, Leeds Beckett, which is in Leeds, and Manchester Met, which is Manchester, no way. So if you know where I live quite central in the UK, so Manchester and Leeds are actually quite far away from where I live. So they were the 2 that I was a bit like, oh, okay, when I realised that 2 of my choices are actually over an hour and a half sort of away from where I live. So yeah, I didn't quite stick to my original plan of staying close. I think whether I go to one of the closer options or one of the further away options sort of depend how I function there. So for instance, with some of the closer ones, for certain things such as like my washing, my mum would be more open to coming and helping me because it'd be easier for her to do that, where with some of the further away ones I'd have to organise support there. So it's just going to come down to really what I fancy at the time, whether I want to move really far away or not, and also how comfortable I feel moving further away. Obviously, if everything's still a little bit crazy, even by the time I finally going to some of the ones that are a little bit closer to home may be nicer, so I don't feel as trapped and really far away. So yeah, they are the universities I have picked. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my process of kind of the reasons I picked them and the things I was looking at for each university. So the main one was if it was city or like rurally based. I really wanted to move to a big city. Where I live currently, it's not like it's a city, but it's not a huge city. So I really wanted to do an upgrade and go to a bit of a busier city. I've always kind of enjoyed a city vibe, so that's why I chose all like city-based places. I also wanted to be able to have a good nightlife, so I tried to pick all places that also seemed like they had good nightlife. I know this doesn't sound like I've gone for the course. I promise I did look at the courses. Kind of, and I'm joking, I did. Most universities that aren't Russell groups, because I haven't applied to any Russells, did offer the courses I wanted or something similar along the same lines. It's a less academic subject, so yeah, most of the Russell groups didn't really offer it, which is why I didn't apply for them. Not that I didn't get the grades. I haven't applied to any Russell groups, and if you don't know what Russell Group is, it's like the more, everyone's like the better universities, but realistically a uni is a uni, a degree is a degree, you know? So yeah, they're the main things with choosing the cities I did. Oh, and the other one is I wanted to check that the cities were like relatively flat. I know I can't control it, every city is going to be a bit, but I didn't want somewhere where I was having to sort of hike to go places. That's why I ruled out Sheffield, because Sheffield's really hilly. So that was another thing I looked at. Then with the actual universities, it was really important to me that I was able to have my own ensuite. This is not me being a spoiled little brat. How I use like the bathroom facilities, for instance, when I'm having a shower, I don't actually have my prosthetic legs on. So a lot of it I'm like on the floor or closer to the floor, so I kind of wanted to make sure that it was my own space, so I knew how clean it was rather than having to share it with other people. So that was really important to me, to make sure that they offered ensuite accommodation, and also accommodation that either could be adapted to my needs or that they already had adapted rooms. I don't really need much of it adapted, it was mainly just the toilet, because I have a wash-dry toilet and I wanted to have one of those at uni. So I was kind of contacting their accommodation teams just to make sure that they could offer me both of those in the accommodation, so that's a nice one. I've tried to make sure that most of them allow me to have my car there. Originally this wasn't too big of a deal to me. I thought if I don't have my car at uni, it's just at home and I can use it when I'm at home. However, since passing my driving test, I don't think I can live without it. So that kind of became more of a priority to me, to make sure that I could use it and have it around me at all times. And I'm trying to think what else. I also looked into the different types of student support that they offered, what the universities could do to basically make my education easier. So whether they could offer scribe or extended loans on books, anything like that, just to make sure that I wouldn't be doing anything that was overly difficult for me. Like physically, obviously the course is supposed to be like challenging, but just like little things like that to offer help and assistance, because I need it. So I think that's basically all. I've been in communications with all of the universities that I have actually applied to, and all of them seem really, really nice so far. Don't go slagging any of them off in the comments, please. So I'm currently just waiting to hear back from them. Obviously I would love to go and visit them before September. I think that would really help me make my mind up as to whether I'm going to go this year or not. However, most of them were sort of saying you obviously can't go and do a visit during the national lockdown, which we're in, and they would want us to be in at least the tier 3. If you don't know the UK tier system, it's very complicated, go and Google it. So yeah, whether I get to visit them before September, hopefully I do, but whether that makes me reassured enough to apply, I'm not too sure yet. So that's sort of what the plan is so far. Like I said, I will definitely make sure to keep this going as a series, hopefully to the point where we then, you know, have like vlogs of my first day of uni and moving in and stuff. So hopefully this all goes to plan as a little series on my channel. The next one I'll do will probably be about all my different courses, hopefully my offers and what's been accepted, and then sort of ranking them in which I'd prefer to do. If you did enjoy this video, then make sure to give it a like, comment, and also please subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in my next one. Bye!